3,000 men are underground when the mountain detonates. In 90 seconds, 1,549 of them will be dead. April 26, 1942. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Benxihu, Manchuria. The Japanese call this place Honkeiko. The Chinese workers who descend into its shafts each morning have another name for it. They call it the Black Pit. This is the largest coal mine in occupied Asia. 2 million tons of coal per year feed the furnaces of Imperial Japan's war machine, battleships, locomotives, munitions factories. The conquest of the Pacific runs on carbon, pulled from this mountain in northeastern China. Right now, nearly 3,000 miners are scattered across a labyrinth of tunnels 900 meters below the surface. Most are Chinese. Conscripted laborers from surrounding villages, prisoners of war, men rounded up in Japanese anti-insurgency sweeps. They work 12-hour shifts in temperatures exceeding 40 degrees Celsius. They breathe air thick with methane and carbon monoxide. They have no safety equipment, no training, no rights. The mine itself is a machine built for extraction, not survival. Ventilation comes from a single centralized system designed decades ago for a fraction of current output. Coal dust accumulates on every surface, in the walls, on the floor, suspended in the air itself. The dust is carbon. Carbon is fuel. And fuel, under the right conditions, explodes. At 2:57 p.m., something ignites in the Ryujin pit. The official Japanese report will blame a gas lamp. Other accounts point to an electrical fault. The truth is buried with the dead. What matters is the spark. Methane gas, leaking from freshly cut seams, catches first. The initial explosion is loud but localized. It kills men in the immediate blast radius. But the real catastrophe is just beginning. The pressure wave races outward through the tunnel network. It lifts accumulated coal dust from every surface into the air. The suspended particles form a combustible cloud that stretches for kilometers. And then, milliseconds later, the flame front arrives. The secondary explosion is not a single blast. It is a chain reaction. Dust ignites, creates pressure, lifts more dust, ignites again. The fireball propagates through interconnected shafts at speeds exceeding 600 meters per second. Faster than sound. Men a kilometer from the original blast have no warning. The fire reaches them before the noise does. On the surface, observers see flames erupting from ventilation shafts across the mountain. The ground shudders. Smoke begins pouring from every opening. The mine superintendent receives word of the explosion within minutes. His name is Honkeiko. He faces a decision. Below him, thousands of workers are scattered across multiple shafts. Some are already dead. Many are injured. Some are untouched, still unaware of what has happened in neighboring tunnels. The fire is spreading. Toxic gases are spreading faster. Standard mine rescue protocol is clear. Open the ventilation systems. Pump fresh air to survivors. Send rescue teams down immediately. Honkeiko does the opposite. At approximately 3:10 p.m., Japanese overseers begin sealing the mine entrances. Steel doors close. Ventilation shafts are blocked. The official justification is fire containment. Oxygen feeds fire. Cut the oxygen, starve the flames. But men breathe oxygen too. Hundreds of miners who survived the initial blast are now trapped in sealed tunnels. Carbon monoxide floods the shafts. It is colorless and odorless. Men feel drowsy, then confused, then nothing. They die sitting against walls, waiting for rescue that will not come. The decision to seal the mine is made in minutes. Its consequences will last for hours. In some shafts, survivors will claw at sealed doors until their fingers bleed. In others, small groups will barricade themselves in pockets of breathable air, rationing their last oxygen. Japanese engineers will not unseal the primary entrances for 10 hours. By then, the body count will be fixed. 1,549 confirmed dead. The true number is almost certainly higher. This will become the deadliest mining disaster in recorded history, a record that still stands today. The blast wave rips through the tunnels at 4:34 in the afternoon. In the deepest shafts, more than a kilometer from the pithead, hundreds of men feel the pressure change but see no fire. They are still alive. The explosion has not reached them. They will not stay alive for long. Within minutes, carbon monoxide begins pooling in the lower galleries. The gas is colorless, it is odorless. Miners working the coal face have no warning. They simply grow drowsy, then confused, then unconscious. Their blood turns cherry red as hemoglobin binds to the poison instead of oxygen. Death comes quietly, in groups, as men slump against tunnel walls or collapse onto the tracks they were loading minutes before. Above ground, sirens wail. Smoke pours from the main shaft. Surviving miners near the surface scramble toward daylight, but they are met at the pithead by Japanese supervisors who order them to wait. The mine's ventilation system has failed. Without fresh air circulation, the tunnels are filling with afterdamp. That lethal mixture of carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen that follows every underground explosion. Standard rescue protocol calls for immediate deployment of trained teams with breathing apparatus. Honkeiko has such equipment. The Japanese Mine Administration does not deploy it. For over an hour, guards block the shaft entrances. The priority is not men. The priority is preventing a secondary explosion that might damage the winding gear, the coal hoists, the infrastructure that keeps production flowing to the war machine. Inside the mine, time runs out by the minute. Men who survive the initial blast suffocate in the dark. Some try to seal themselves into dead-end galleries, packing their jackets against gaps in the timber frames, hoping to buy time. Others attempt to walk out through tunnels, now thick with poison. They make it partway. Their bodies are later found in clusters, hands still reaching toward the surface. When rescue teams finally descend, they find the dead stacked in corridors. Some men died standing, wedged upright by the bodies around them. The youngest victims are 14 years old, boys conscripted from occupied villages and put to work hauling coal in the narrow seams. The official count reaches 1,549. This marks Honkeiko the deadliest coal mining disaster in recorded history. The number eclipses Korea's in France, Sengenid in Wales, Monongah in West Virginia. No single mine explosion before or since has killed more people. Japanese authorities conduct an internal review. They publish nothing. Wartime censorship in occupied Manchuria ensures the disaster receives minimal coverage in Japanese newspapers and none in the international press. Mine director Kawamura Sozaburo issues no public statement and no apology. Chinese survivors and families receive no compensation. Workers injured in the blast receive no medical care from the company. The mine reopens within days. Production quotas must be met. For the remaining 3 years of Japanese occupation, nothing changes at Benxi. No new safety regulations, no reduction in forced labor, no accountability for the dead. The war economy demands coal, and coal is extracted from the bodies of conscripted Chinese workers until August 1945, when Japan surrenders and the occupation ends. After liberation, survivors begin to speak. The Honkeiko disaster enters Chinese historical memory as evidence of imperial brutality, a catastrophe caused not merely by industrial negligence, but by a system that treated occupied peoples as expendable fuel for conquest. The sealed shafts, the hour-long delay, the bodies stacked in tunnels. These details become part of the case against Japan's wartime labor practices. Today, the Benxi Coal Mine Museum stands near the original pithead. Visitors walk through exhibits documenting the explosion and its aftermath. The memorial lists names where names are known. Many victims were never identified. They were buried in mass graves, their families never notified. Historians now estimate the true death toll exceeds 1,800, when accounting for miners who succumbed to injuries in the days and weeks that followed. No one was ever charged. The mine operated until 1961.